So now, in a continuation of what might become a series, I've been told by forces and advisors, suggestions from the internet, that I dump my comfy old clothes that I love to cook in. I might even do something about shaving, and yeah, this too. So in this next video, you'll be seeing me looking like a completely remade person, proving that I can scrub up a bit. So we move on to that. Well, here we are. I have cut my hair as instructed by she who must be obeyed, and I've had a shape smooth as a baby's bottom. The only resemblance it has to a baby's bottom, I can assure you. And I had a wardrobe change, and I think it's too much. Too much? Too much. Okay, well, in the interest of I'll probably spill stuff, I thought these would be a good idea because then you'll never really notice when I spill stuff on my clothes. So I went with the... No, I'm not in a militia, dear. No, I'm not militia. Okay. No, I'm not trying to cook wildebeest. No. Well, I think I have to try something else. Okay, well, I think this is a good compromise. It's comfortable, it's easy to work in, my cuffs won't get in there. If I spill food, who cares? Okay, so, crêpe, pronounced with a crêpe, not crepes, but crêpe. That's the way the French pronounce it, and I think they pretty much invented them. It's not that hard. Just clear your throat as you say, si, crêpe, and you'll be all fine. Okay, it's a simple recipe. It just involves eggs, flour. Well, you can use milk. I like using half and half. That's up to you. A little bit of melted butter. Put in the bottom of the pan and mix in with things. Now, I tend to like to use xylitol instead of sugar, and that's mainly for when you start filling the crepe before you want to eat it, if you're going to have a dessert-style crepe. And, of course, another mixing bowl for when you do the eggs. Now, it's a very simple process, and I will go through it carefully. Okay, what we want to do first is we want to make sure the flour is very smooth. So we want to strain it through this strainer to remove any lumps. We use 1 cup of flour, which is 125 grams, I think, for doing it liters. There you go. The flour is pretty good, clean. And the same thing for the salt. I'll try not to spill it. Make sure there are no lumps in the salt. Voila, that's done. You can set that aside. And then, having done this, we can just mix it in, salt into the flour, and then we set this aside. Okay, now we've done the flour. We need to mix the egg and the butter and whip it up so that those little stringy bits of egg are all mixed in very well. Okay, voila. So I have kind of a stiff whisk I do this with. Makes it a little easier to really control it more, I find. Okay, it calls for 1 1/4 cups of milk. I'll put the conversions into metric down at the bottom in the written part. So here's 1 cup, 1/4. I don't know how exact you have to be with these things. I've never found that it's that important, but just kind of close. Okay, so it's beautifully whipped, and I am guilty. I cheated. I actually went over and used one of these things. It's made by Braun. It's wonderful. It's got whisks, it's got choppers, it's got all sorts of everything, and it really smoothed out the whole mixture perfectly. So here we have the mix. Now we're going to mix this in with the dry ingredients. Okay, so now we've got the egg and the milk. We're going to want to blend it in to the dry ingredients, which I just mentioned. Here we have our flour, and what they recommend is to put in a third of this mixture approximately and work that in until there are no lumps, and then add another third again until there are no lumps. Get it in slowly. We can see it almost kind of looks like dough for bread. Then another, add a bit more in because it's a bit dry. And just keep working it in until it becomes really nice and smooth. Now, not all the recipes I've seen say you need to do it third, third, and third. Just do it however it works best for you. Now, as part of the recipe, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, which I've already done because you're supposed to let it cool a bit. You just need a little pan. You could even use this thing. Put it in it over very low heat on the stove and melt it. You don't want to cook it. You don't want it to start to boil, just so it's soft and will blend in to these ingredients. Pretty smooth. Okay, so now we basically have that, and what we have to do is we have to take this, put it in the refrigerator for a minimum of 30 minutes, and that kind of lets it get comfortable. Whatever little lumps there might be tend to get absorbed in with the moisture, and you'll be all set. So you do have to do this enough in advance so you're not doing this and then just sticking it on the stove. Okay, so here we are at the stove. We have the pan that's warmed up. We have the mixture that we have taken out of the fridge, and we've stirred it back up again. We have some melted butter, more melted butter, that we put into the bottom of the pan, and we have this little wooden thing. You can actually buy these off of Amazon, especially for making crepes. I just quickly made one because it was a New Year's morning, and we used to have a tradition of making crepes. We decided to reenact it, and so I had to make something quickly. It works just fine. So you keep that in water so that the batter doesn't stick to it. Okay, so I'll just shake that off a little bit. Put a little bit of the butter in the pan. This is a non-stick pan, so it's really not for stick. It just tastes good. We take a little measured amount of the batter, put it in the pan, and then just sort of move this around in a circle. As you can see, it's not going to make a perfectly round crepe or a perfectly smooth crepe, but it gets it distributed. I'll put it back in here so that doesn't stick. It doesn't take very long. They go quite quickly, as you can see. And you just wait for a little bit. You have a spatula, something that will just get underneath the edge. See, that's has to cook a bit more. So now it's been on for just a little bit. I had an interruption, so I had to turn things off. It's getting just a little brown on the bottom. It needs a bit more than that. And it's beginning to dry out on top. I think that's probably about right. It's beginning to lift up around the edges. As I say, I've only done this once before, so there we go. That doesn't look so bad. It doesn't look so good, but it doesn't even look like an egg, actually. It looks like a moon that's gone off of a full moon. You only leave it a few seconds here on this side. 30 seconds, they say. And then you take it off, put it on a plate, and then these can be frozen very easily. You just need to separate them with a bit of wax paper. And there you go. Making crepes is actually very easy. Making them perfectly round is not, but making them is really easy. So have fun with it, and I'll show you some of the ways you can use them in the next few minutes. Okay, well, so we've done the cooking of our crepes, which I have kept a few here underneath a piece of wax paper, like I mentioned before, which helps keep them fresh. You don't want them to dry out. So now I made a few that were fairly round. So let's start with the simplest possible dessert crepe. It's the one I remember from my student days in Paris, coming out from the metro or the underground or the subway, however you call it, on a cold winter's night. I really looked forward to having a crepe. As a student, all I could afford was the dessert crepe, a very simple crepe. Some of them are made with Grand Marnier. I couldn't afford Grand Marnier. Some are made with liqueur, cognac. Couldn't afford cognac either. Ice cream wasn't on the menu, although it's really good. So they gave us a very simple crepe au citron, which is lemon, et sucre, sugar. So, having made your crepe, as we did, we just, these are the lemons we cut from our tree. Oh, we're so lucky here in California. But you don't have to cut lemons from your tree. You can always buy some in the supermarket. You can always use a lemon juice that you can buy. You can do any of those things. But there's nothing quite like really fresh lemon juice. So you just kind of pour it over the crepe. Voila, as they would say if you were in France. And then you take some sugar, and I use xylitol. I have blood sugar problem. And you just sort of sprinkle it over. And that sweet and sour is really fabulous. And then they would just fold it over that way, fold it over this way, and here you have the most delicious taste on earth. I'm 18 again. I don't look it. I feel it. Oh God, that's good. This is the Grand Marnier, which is a wonderful French liqueur made from oranges. And they just do it like this. Let's see if I can. Yeah, splash it around a bit. Oh. Okay, and then just a little soupçon of sugar on this one because the liqueur is already quite sweet. Sugar makes it nice and crunchy. And then again, you could roll it up. The French like to do it this way, and they must have a reason for it. There is nothing like this. Okay, now that is heaven on earth. Next one is going to be berries. Oh, thought I died and go in heaven twice there. Okay, the next one I'm making is a berry crepe, which is really very nice, kind of juicy and runny as well. Just kind of put the berries, anticipating where the cone is going to go. Okay, and there we go. And then I will just put, because these are straight berries, they don't have any sugar or juice in them. This is their own juice. I put them in the frozen berries, actually, in the microwave. And they kind of stew down and make their own juice. Absolutely marvelous. Okay, so now with this one, I'm going to, how am I going to do this? I'm going to go like this, and then like this. Okay, so I've got that. Now, I'm going to use a knife and fork with this one. I use a knife and fork with the pizza. I know. Don't throw anything. I do. And then just a nice little scoop of ice cream on top. And voila. Looks god-awful, I know, but it's going to taste really good. I cut it down the middle. An errant berry. And then cut it across here. All nice and sticky. Let the ice cream get a little warm. Oh, nice and messy. Mmm. Mmm. Sorry, indulge me here. This is just too delicious to stop. There are many other ways of using crepes. You can make breakfast crepes. You can put scrambled eggs and some bacon, or scrambled eggs and sausage. You can put savories in there if you want to. You can take onion and garlic and fry them up in the pan and make them all nice and put that and put a little fried egg on top. There's so many things that you can do with crepes. So once you make the initial crepes, you keep them in the freezer. You just either put them in the microwave or just warm them on the pan and put everything on it on the pan. And you can have an absolutely wonderful set of meals that is different every time you eat. You can use up even leftovers and put on cream of chicken would be very good. Cream of mushrooms would be very good on it. Some people put a ratatouille inside it. There are all sorts of things you can do with it. So crepes, easy to make, multi-use. Have fun with it.